All right, good morning, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in for another live stream. If we have anybody in the chat, can you please confirm that my microphone is working and we sound good? How's the audio quality of my voice? Hopefully, everything is well there. So, happy Saturday and good morning. Today's date, March 7th, 2026. So, hope you guys are having a good weekend so far. I am. I woke up a little bit tired today, but we've got a lot of news to cover coming out from the Middle East. Still not much information out of Ukraine. Very interesting. Not a whole lot of reports there, but we will spend a lot of time with some updates regarding this war over here. I think we're going to see a lot of big changes very soon. Good morning, Jay Fitzarelli. Thanks again for being here, brother. Yeah, so lots of big changes here coming in the Middle East. I think we're going to see a big uptick in attacks. If you guys have seen the title, I think the U.S. is preparing some massive strikes over there. Not that we haven't already seen that, but I think it's going to get more extreme in the coming days. And we're going to talk about why that is. Trump released a statement today regarding Iran, which is probably one of the most aggressive statements that he's made recently. We also have information out from the Iranian side. The Iranians are actually apologizing for some of the attacks on their neighbors. I'm assuming they're talking about the Gulf nations, but they could also be responding to Azerbaijan. As just a couple days ago, I gave you guys some reports that the Azerbaijan actually came under attack by Iranian drones, supposedly. So the government over there was preparing to announce some sort of retaliation onto Iran. So I'm not sure if they're kind of, apologizing to the Azerbaijani people or could be also the Gulf nations as well. But what's interesting regarding that, even though they're apologizing for these attacks, they're actually still continuing them over the last 24 hours, and it's still actually going on right now. I think Qatar is currently under attack right now. The UAE is under attack. Bahrain, a lot of these same nations we've been talking about in the Gulf. Thank you so much, Joe Doley, for that update there. Glad the audio sounds good. So yeah, lots to cover. This is going to be our first update today. Trump says Iran will be hit very hard despite recent apology to neighbors. So even though this statement came out last night from the Iranian side, it was actually Masoud Pezeshkian, their president, that was apologizing to all their neighbors for attacking them. He's kind of saying, the only reason we're attacking you is because the U.S. is using your bases to strike us. So as long as you're not attacking us anymore, we're not going to attack your nations. But we know that's not going to stop. The U.S. is still using many bases in the Gulf countries to attack Iran. So most likely these strikes are going to continue onto the Gulf nations. So that's something we're going to talk a lot about today. I've got so many more videos showing massive explosions across Tehran. One of their major international airports was heavily bombed last night. Lots of aircraft reportedly being struck by the IDF, which is Israel's defense forces, their military. So yeah, guys, just so much to cover. Let's go ahead and jump right into the news. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. I hope you guys are having a great weekend so far. So we're going to hop on over here to X, and we'll start off with Disclose TV. It says, just in, Trump says, today Iran will be hit very hard. So let's go over this statement from him. It says, Iran, which is being beat to hell, has apologized and surrendered to its Middle East neighbors and promised that it will not shoot at them anymore. This promise was only made because of the relentless U.S. and Israeli attack. They were looking to take over and rule the Middle East. It is the first time that Iran has ever lost in thousands of years to surrounding Middle Eastern countries. They have said, thank you, President Trump. I have said, you're welcome. Iran is no longer the bully of the Middle East. They are instead the loser of the Middle East, and will be for many decades until they surrender or, more likely, completely collapse. And then he said right here, today Iran will be hit very hard, under serious consideration for complete destruction and certain death. Because of Iran's bad behavior, are areas and groups of people that were not considered for targeting up until this moment in time. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So Trump's saying they're going to get hit very hard, and he's also claiming they're going to go after targets that were not previously under consideration, but now they are. So I wonder who they're going to target. He's actually responding to the president of Iran, Masoud Pezeshkian who put out that statement. So I wonder if they might try to go after him or maybe more members of their parliament. We know a lot of their members of their IRGC, they're pretty much their entire top chain of command has been wiped out. We have some reports on that also today that apparently the lower ranks of the IRGC are being ordered to pretty much just fire on whatever target they want because they basically don't have a chain of command. A lot of it has been destroyed either by Israel or the United States. So, very interesting statement today. And in my opinion, I think this means that we are going into a next phase of this war where these strikes are going to increase onto Iran much more than what we're seeing right now. And I think a lot of different types of aircraft not previously used as much will now start being used more often, like strategic bombers, B-52s, B-2 Spirit bombers, B-1 Lancers. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of those being deployed more to the Middle East and being more widely used for these strikes onto Iran. So huge update there. Here's information regarding the statement from Pezeshkian today, Iran's president. So next to reports breaking, Iran's President Pezeshkian drops a major statement amid the chaos. He says Iran will stand until the end, no surrender. He just called on Iranians to forget internal fights, and unite to defend the country, while apologizing to neighbors for any damage from recent strikes. Key line is Tehran has no intention of attacking neighboring countries, strikes only if they attack us first. Iran is also urging regional states, don't become tools for Israel or the U.S. Solve everything through diplomacy. So what this sounds like to me is not necessarily an apology to, let's say, the Gulf nations, for example, who are letting the U.S. use their bases to strike Iran, but it almost seems like they're trying to drive a wedge between, the U.S. and Gulf nations relations. Okay, so they're kind of saying if you tell the U.S. that we can't or you can't use our bases no more, then they'll stop firing on them. So they're kind of putting pressure on some of these Gulf nations and saying, hey, if you tell the U.S. no longer you're going to use our bases, we will no longer strike your nation. So it seems like they're trying to pressure them in some form of way to get these strikes from the U.S. to cease. But in my opinion, I don't think that's going to happen. We've seen some reports coming out over the last few days that the Gulf nations were actually urging Trump to continue the operation versus some other conflicting reports that were stating that behind closed doors, some of these Gulf nations were actually telling Trump to stop because of how much economic damage is currently being caused in some of these Gulf nations. So very interesting report there. Here's another one from Dr. Eli David. Excuse me. It says official IRGC statement. It says, quote, President Pezeshkian made a mistake saying they won't attack neighboring countries, and our forces demonstrated his mistake. His comments were 5 hours ago. Since then, Dubai and Abu Dhabi are being struck. Ignore Pezeshkian's words during the war. So this is an IRGC statement. I'm not sure who exactly it was that mentioned this, but it says here Sepah Pazdaran. This is going to be on Telegram. So most likely some sort of higher ranking official in the IRGC from what's left of their chain of command or top chain of command released a statement here and pretty much saying to ignore Masoud Pezeshkian's calls for trying to basically slow down these attacks onto the Gulf nations, that they're actually still striking many of these nations, which again, as I mentioned earlier, we are still seeing a lot of reports of that today, many Gulf nations under attack by the Iranians. So we can see here with the IRGC, they're not, happy with that statement coming out from Pezeshkian today. Sorry, guys, still a little bit congested from being sick recently, so my voice might kind of cut out a little bit here and there. But OSA Defender, United Arab Emirates, or UAE, has said that air defense systems are actively working to shoot down Iranian ballistic missiles, and their jets are engaged shooting down Iranian drones and loitering munitions. So this is directly out of the UAE Ministry of Defense. This came out today. You can see the date here, March 7th, 7:45 a.m. Okay, so they're claiming they're still actively shooting down missiles and drone threats from Iran. So these strikes are still continuing, even though the U.S. is coming out saying that, 86% or something like that, close to 90% of Iran's missile and drone capabilities have been destroyed. We've seen some reports coming out from the U.S. administration, but still they were able to carry out attacks onto some of these Gulf nations like the UAE. So they're continuously being attacked. This is as of this morning coming out, okay? So now Ozen Technical. Iranian drone missile impacts moments ago at Dubai International Airport. Smoke can be seen rising over the airfield. So this actually came out yesterday evening for many of us here if you're living in the United States. You can see here it was March 6th at 7:05 p.m. That would have been my time, Pacific Standard Time in the United States. And we had the Dubai International Airport once again being attacked by Iranian drones. You can see here smoke coming from the airport. I believe it got hit numerous times. We do have video footage of that today as well. So yeah, even though we've got these statements coming out from their president, they are still actively attacking some of these nations and still going after, critical civilian infrastructure and whatnot, like this major airports over here. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was roughly about maybe 12 hours or longer that the Dubai International Airport was being shut down. There was like massive queues of lines of people waiting at the airports just to get out of there. And in the recent hours earlier this morning here in the US, which would have been morning time over there, or afternoon, I believe, over in the UAE, they were actually starting to open up flights again. So that is good news that the airport is starting to open back up. Here's a video now from Ozen Technical. Another Iranian attack drone hits Dubai International Airport, barely missing Concourse A. So you're going to see a drone striking right over here next to this hangar, and you can see a bunch of these different airplanes here too, transport planes right next to this, and a drone's going to crash right over here. This was allegedly an Iranian drone that struck the airport in Dubai. Take a look.
Yeah, straight to the airport. Ya Rab. Ya Rab, straight to the aircraft. Ya Allah, straight to the...
All right, so as we can see, these strikes are still continuing onto these Gulf nations. And again, in my opinion, I don't think this is going to stop. Even though the statement coming out from their president today, I think they're going to continue the attacks onto the Gulf nations. And just over the last couple of days, it's been relatively quiet. We haven't heard too many stories of attacks over there. In certain nations, like maybe Bahrain, has been attacked more often, but it's been relatively quiet over here in the UAE and Qatar. But once again, still coming under attack there. Excuse me. So Megatron Ron now breaking. Excuse me, guys. Sorry. Still congested. Breaking, the HIMARS launcher system was spotted in Bahrain. Bahrain is allowing the U.S. now to launch missile strikes on Iran from its territory. Okay, so this is actually being widely reported on X today, and confirmation that the U.S. is using Gulf nations' military bases to strike Iran. This is apparently HIMARS that was deployed over here inside of Bahrain to launch strikes onto Iran. And this video just coming out earlier this morning. So I want you guys to see this. You're going to see multiple launches of HIMARS rockets heading towards Iran. All right, so for anybody wondering why Iran is attacking U.S. bases located in some of these nations like Bahrain, this is exactly why, as we've got video footage here today showing HIMARS rockets heading for Iran. So looks like we will be seeing more attacks onto these Gulf nations. Now, Clash reports, Trump on Iran. Their communications and telecommunications are gone. I don't know how they'll communicate now, but I guess they'll figure something out. This was Trump coming out today during a speech, and I want you guys to see this about 30 seconds or so, pretty much claiming that the Iranians don't have any available communications to use for their military right now. And he's been stating this a lot recently, that their military's wiped out, their Air Force wiped out, their Navy and whatnot. Take a look at this real quick.
It's been amazing. We've knocked out 42 Navy ships, some of them very large, in 3 days. That was the end of the Navy. We knocked out their Air Force. We knocked out their communications, and all telecommunications is gone. I don't know how they communicate, but I guess they will figure something out. It's not working out too well. And they're bad people. They're just bad people. It's been amazing.
All right, I don't know if it's just me, but it almost seems like Trump is very tired here. His voice even sounds a little shaky. I wonder if maybe he's getting sick or something like I was recently. But yeah, Trump kind of commenting on the state of the RGC right now. They don't have communications. He mentioned that a lot of their navy's destroyed. I do have an update on that here in a little bit as well. I think the IDF is claiming they've taken out like more than 40 different vessels connected to the Iranian Navy. So those numbers keep climbing. I think yesterday we were at like 30 or so. Now it's jumping up over 40 being destroyed. So we'll go over that here in just a little bit. Here's another statement that Trump made, not necessarily directed towards Iran. This is actually regarding Cuba. This is from Nexus. Says great changes are coming to Cuba soon, says Trump. So the reason why I want to show you this also is because we have had some reports coming out recently that after Iran, the U.S. is going to go after Cuba next. Okay, so I want you to see this here. This is Trump also stating that great changes are coming to Cuba very soon. So let me know your thoughts.
Venezuela, we're also looking forward to the great change that will soon be coming to Cuba. Cuba's at the end of the line. They're very much at the end of the line. They have no money. They have no oil. They have a bad philosophy. They have a bad regime that's been bad for a long time. Venezuela, we're also looking forward.
Okay, so Trump saying that great changes are coming to Cuba soon. What do you think that might be? It seems like they're going to shoot for some sort of regime change inside of Cuba also. Now, does that mean we're going to see some sort of military action carried out in Cuba? Maybe that might be the case, but he's claiming that Cuba is collapsing right now economically. They don't have oil. They're having a lot of internal issues right now. There is another post that was talking about this as well. If you guys didn't hear about this from Poly Market, it says breaking protests erupt in Havana after more than 60 hours without electricity, with demonstrations against the communist government spreading across the capital. So yeah, this has been widely reported across mainstream news also that there's massive protests erupting inside of Havana, multiple other cities in Cuba as well. This is due to the recent massive power outage that started just about 2 days ago. If you guys remember, we were actually live at the time when this was being reported. There was like a huge power outage ongoing inside of Iraq. Pretty much the entire nation was down in terms of their energy grid. And then on top of that, like 30 minutes later, there was reports coming out from Cuba with the same thing. So Cuba was also having issues with their power, and reportedly it's still down 60 hours later. This is why, we're having a lot of protests erupting inside of the capital of Cuba, Havana. So looks like they are ready to fall here very soon as well. And it makes you wonder if the U.S. is going to carry out some sort of military action on them next. Now, it was a defender, according to Israeli news reports. Israel assesses that Azerbaijan will strike and or join in the wider coalition against Iran as retaliation for Iranian strikes inside Azerbaijan yesterday. To date, Azerbaijan's relationship with Turkey, and more importantly, Israel, has strained their relationship with their neighbor Iran, as Iran has close ties to Russia and Armenia, nations that Azerbaijan increasingly finds itself at odds with. Okay, so Israeli news reporting that the Azerbaijanis might carry out some sort of military retaliation onto Iran. So again, this ties into the story we had a couple days ago, where I mentioned earlier that we had Iranian drones supposedly crashing inside of Azerbaijan. I think it was in this region right here called the Nakhchivan region, if I'm pronouncing that right. We had multiple drones striking in airports over there, in international airports, and then we also had a school that was attacked by a drone as well. There was actually kids there at the school at the time that it was struck. There was reports of 4 civilians that were actually harmed in these drone attacks and supposedly were fired from Iran. We have not seen any reports conflicting that, saying that maybe these drones came from somewhere else. As far as we know, these were Iranian-made drones that struck Azerbaijan, and we're still continuing to hear that Azerbaijan might be responding militarily, but we have not had official confirmation that they have launched any attack onto Iran yet. Now, Vicegrad24 breaking, Azerbaijan announces it has detained several people who are planning terrorist attacks for Iran. The group, which was caught with explosives, planned attacks against Baku, Tbilisi, Sehan oil pipeline, and a synagogue. Okay, so that was some big news coming out yesterday as well. I think mainstream news picked this up also, that Azerbaijan had arrested several people that were connected to terrorist attacks for Iran. Now that's pretty crazy, guys. I mean, this is on top of the drone attacks onto Azerbaijan. And even though the Iranians come out and claim, there's no reason for us to attack our neighbor Azerbaijan, we continuously see more reports like this, that there could have been a major pipeline that could have been attacked as well. Thankfully, that was thwarted, is what is being reported here with this story. Okay, now from Israel Defense Forces has struck 16 IRGC Quds Force aircraft used to transfer weapons to Hezbollah. The Israeli Air Force conducted a wave of precise strikes in Tehran targeting military infrastructure at Mehrabad Airport, a central hub used by the IRGC to arm and fund its terror proxies across the Middle East. Several Iranian fighter jets were also struck. Prior to the strike, steps were taken to mitigate harm to civilians. Okay, so yeah, this was a big report that was breaking last night as well. The Mehrabad Airport, which is located kind of like central Tehran, was getting hammered last night by Israeli strikes. And we had reports of 16 aircraft that were used to transport weapons to Hezbollah, which is going to be an Iranian proxy group located in Lebanon, just north of Israel's border. That a lot of these planes were actually struck and destroyed overnight. So I do have some images, and I believe could be some videos as well. But here's one image from Insider Papers. This photo: Mehrabad International Airport in Tehran is on fire after U.S.-Israeli strikes. So look at that, guys. It was an absolutely massive attack. Multiple bombs being dropped, lots of aircraft being destroyed. Here in this incident, you can see a lot of fire there at the Mehrabad International Airport last night inside of the capital of Tehran, inside of Iran. And here's some video now from Vicegrad 24. Massive airstrikes were carried out against Mehrabad International Airport in Tehran a few hours ago. Not obviously hours ago, this was last night, but several planes, including a Boeing 747, were hit on the tarmac. So here's some quick video coming out. It's just about 6 seconds long, but there you can see a plane burning, and allegedly this is a 747 Boeing. Okay, and I heard some reports that this was originally an older aircraft from the 1970s that was originally used as like a transport plane, and then they eventually converted it into an aerial refueler tanker, and this was struck and destroyed. But as far as we know, whether that story is true or not, this was connected to the RGC and their military, and also funding weapons for the Hezbollah group over inside of Lebanon. So massive destruction to aircraft here. Here's another video. Maria Nafal after last night's Israeli air raid on Tehran's Mehrabad International Airport. Reportedly 16 aircraft destroyed, with burnt wrecks and plane parts scattered across the runway. Now, here's just one part of the airport after it was massively attacked by the Israeli Air Force last night. Look at all these planes either destroyed or just bits and pieces of them scattered everywhere here. This was absolutely a massive attack from Israel last night, and they're further trying to degrade Iran's ability to fund proxy groups, okay? And that's a big part of this whole nuclear deal and everything that the U.S. was trying to sign with Iran before these strikes began just about a week or two ago. They were calling on the Iranians to end support for their proxy groups, including Hezbollah, the Houthis, Hamas, whatnot. Even some groups located in Iraq, like the Popular Mobilization Forces, I think is what they're called, PMF. They want them to end all the support for those proxy groups, and since they did not want to sign a deal with them, they went ahead and destroyed their aircraft that allows them to transport military equipment to those proxy groups. So now U.S. Central Command reports U.S. forces have struck over 3,000 targets in the first week of Operation Epic Fury, and we are not slowing down. So just more videos coming out every day from U.S. Central Command showing all these different strikes onto Iranian targets. In that case, looks like that was an aircraft inside of a hangar. We've got what looks like another storage building here that was blown up. Looks like there may have been ammunition in there as well. Lots of debris flying all over the place after that was hit. So yeah, just day after day, lots of strikes here being reported. That could have been a launcher possibly being used, or maybe mobile air defense system, not sure exactly. But yeah, just several more strikes here being recorded from U.S. Central Command today. Very cool video there. Now, Disclosed TV just in, USS George H.W. Bush is deploying to the eastern Mediterranean. This will be the third carrier strike group in the region, according to Fox News. All right, so this came out last night. Very big report right here. Also, this is going to be 3 different aircraft carriers that are going to be located in the Middle East. And this ties in again to the main story that we have today, that the U.S. is going to be increasing attacks onto Iran in the coming days, and probably even going to start today based on Trump's statement that came out. So we've got 3 different aircraft carriers. We got the USS Abraham Lincoln, that, as far as we know, is off the coast of Iran, more like in the Arabian Sea near Oman. We've got the USS Gerald R. Ford that was recently deployed next to Israel. And as far as we know, yesterday we heard some reports that possibly it could be transiting through the Red Sea right now, heading down to meet up with the USS Abraham Lincoln. Now, on top of that, this third carrier strike group, the George H.W. Bush. So that is crazy, guys. 3 carriers being deployed to Iran. So even though we're hearing reports that Iran's military capabilities are being depleted, at the same time, more aircraft, more naval assets are being deployed here to the Middle East for massive strikes to continue. So it looks like this campaign is going to be going on for a while. I did mention yesterday that, in my opinion, I thought this war was going to be ending pretty quickly, but with more deployments like this makes me think that there's probably going to be more weeks-long campaign of these strikes into Iran. I think it's going to continue for some time, so I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but we get some reports coming out from the U.S. administration that things are going really well. There was actually even a report that came out on Fox News. I was watching a clip of it, and one of the anchors on the cast was actually claiming that, maybe very soon with these numbers that we're hearing, like, 80-90% of Iran's capabilities are destroyed, that maybe we're going to be declaring victory very soon. Now, I don't think that's going to happen super quick, but who knows? I mean, anything can happen over here. So far, we're hearing a lot of destruction. Now, another aircraft carrier. I mean, there's going to be massive bombardments onto the Iranians here soon. Now, Vice Grad 24 breaking: U.S.-Israeli airstrikes are pounding an Iranian intelligence escalate, if I'm saying that right, base in the city of Saqqez in western Iran. Okay, so lots of airstrikes still being carried out. Western Iran, southern Iran, that's mostly where we've been seeing these strikes here recently. This is reportedly an Iranian intelligence base that came under attack. Just about 8 seconds here. All right, so massive airstrikes being carried out here, most likely by the U.S. military, striking this intelligence base here used by the IRGC. Huge strike right there. Now, Channel 12 News: the U.S. Army announced that since the start of the war, it has destroyed 43 ships and vessels of the Iranian army and attacked a total of more than 3,000 targets. Okay, wasn't it just reported just a couple of days ago, like 2,000 targets? Now it's being reported 3,000 targets. I mean, these are a lot of strikes being carried out, and I bet many of these videos that I'm showing you guys are just a drop in the bucket based on how many attacks are actually taking place. There's probably so many of them that are not even recorded inside of Iran on video. But they're claiming here U.S. Army has destroyed 43 ships. Okay, this is usually a pretty reliable source coming out from Israel, Channel 12 News, one of their major broadcasters over there. They report a lot on these wars, so that's pretty wild. 43 ships now of the Iranian Navy or Iranian Army connected to their military that has been destroyed. Again, just yesterday, we were hearing numbers somewhere around 30, 35 or so, now jumping up to 43. So that is a lot of vessels being destroyed. Okay, moving on to Megatron Ron breaking. Drop site news received images of a Patriot battery in the UAE being directly struck by an Iranian ballistic missile. Okay, these are some images that are floating around online. Now, I can't completely confirm this. Allegedly, it could be in the UAE. And it talks about how a Patriot battery was struck. But what's interesting, in these photos, you're not going to see a Patriot battery. At least I don't see one here. I see some transport trucks. There's a Humvee right there. And it looks like this was possibly some sort of vehicle repair base that came under attack. But it does look like it was attacked, and it could possibly be in the UAE. And whether this was a ballistic missile or not, we don't really know, but that's what's being reported here by Drop Site News, according to Megatron Ron. So very interesting there. We do have a few photos today of damages here on the U.S. side, which I think is interesting and also important to report to you guys as well. Not only is there massive strikes being carried out onto Iran, but the U.S. has taken some hits as well, and we'll kind of go over that. Now, as a defender, U.S. MQ-9 Reaper was reportedly shot down by IRGC aerospace forces today over Hormozgan province in Iran. Okay, so allegedly this could be an MQ-9 Reaper drone that may have been shot down. Now, what is very interesting with this story as well is just yesterday, we had some reports coming out for, I think it was mainstream news, stating that there was roughly about 3 of these MQ-9s that were actually shot down so far by the IRGC. Now, in my opinion, I could honestly believe that just based on the reports that we had. What was it, last year? I think last year, possibly going into 2024, when the U.S. was engaging with the Houthis down in Yemen, which is another Iranian proxy group. We had multiple reports of these MQ-9 Reaper drones being shot down just by the Houthis alone. So it would not surprise me if the Iranians were able to score some direct hits on these MQ-9s and destroy them. This allegedly a photo coming out here showing this thing crash landing and completely destroyed after it was allegedly shot down by the IRGC. And I'm not sure if Central Command came out shooting down these reports saying that it wasn't true or not. I don't think we had confirmation of that, but there was some reports yesterday saying that several of these may have been destroyed. Now, from Visioner, a photo has emerged showing the ANTPY-2 radar. Parts of the THAAD air defense system deployed at Mawafaq Salti Air Base in Jordan reportedly damaged by debris. The base came under attack on March 2nd with Iranian ballistic missiles and Shahed drones, though it remains unclear what specific debris caused the damage to the THAAD radar. It's allegedly a radar system connected to the THAAD system, which is used to shoot down ballistic missiles. A lot of these are deployed inside of Israel and also inside of Jordan to help protect Israel if ballistic missiles are heading that way. And we have had reports in the recent past, I want to say it was more towards the beginning of the conflict, probably the first maybe 2 to 3 days, we did hear some reports of drones that were striking this airbase over here. Mawafaq Salti Air Base. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but the name of it is right here. It's a major air base in Jordan, and the U.S. military is stationed here also. We have heard reports of, Patriots missile batteries are set up over here, lots of air defense systems to help defend Israel as we knew they were going to come under attack by the Iranians. This could be a photo here of a THAAD radar that was destroyed, and I would believe these are very expensive, so that's a pretty massive loss here if this happens to be true, but it doesn't look like it is damaged there. Now, as a defender, pro-Hezbollah channels are reporting a clash between Hezbollah and the Israel Defense Forces, or IDF, in a number of towns in the Bekaa Valley in northeast Lebanon. Reporting indicates that the IDF conducted a helicopter insertion and after advancing some ways met heavy enemy fire from fighters in surrounding towns. Pro-Hezbollah channels claim that the IDF forces were forced to withdraw under the cover of heavy combat air support due to the ferocity of the fire. Additional reporting from Al Jazeera indicates that Hezbollah targeted locations within the Bekaa Valley with indirect fires during efforts to repulse IDF offensive movement. At this time, these reports are yet unconfirmed, and the IDF has yet to confirm that a ground operation was or is underway in the Bekaa Valley. So yeah, possibly we did have some sort of ground operation or insertion by the IDF into Lebanese territory. This could have taken place last night. This is some video coming out. Allegedly, what you're going to hear here is lots of gunfire taking place between Hezbollah and reportedly the IDF as they were trying to launch some sort of ground incursion using helicopters and an insertion into their territory. So take a look at this real quick.
يا علي بحمى الرحمن يا علي يا علي بحمى الرحمن يا علي يا إمام يا علي بحمى الرحمن اسمك يا علي.
So very loud video there, but yeah, what we can hear is lots of gunfire, and this is possibly inside of Lebanon with Hezbollah forces here engaging with the Israelis. So what's been reported over here also is that Over the past few days, there has allegedly been some sort of ground incursion in the southern side of Lebanon as well, where the Israelis were trying to push in, possibly with some sort of tanks or IFVs. But it has not been completely confirmed as of yet. But what we are seeing is what looks like a huge battle that took place last night between IDF forces and Hezbollah. Now, Mari Nafal, Tehran rocked by explosions again, sirens in Bahrain. Saudis intercepting drones and missiles. U.S. officials say the biggest bombing campaign of the war hasn't even started yet. So here's a new video coming out from Tehran today, being hit by massive explosions and bombardments. I want you to see this real quick. Pretty insane.
یه دونم پشتشه یه دونم پشتشه پشتش هم زد
Wow, some massive attacks we can see here from U.S. and Israeli forces striking Tehran. And as I mentioned, just these airstrikes continuing, hammering the IRGC, some of their installations and bases located inside of the capital. That's probably some of the biggest strikes we've seen so far. It also talks about sirens in Bahrain. So this actually came out yesterday evening, March 6, 9:40 p.m. So looks like Bahrain was coming under attack earlier this morning, because nighttime here would have been like earlier morning in the Middle East. So as we can confirm today, Bahrain was coming under attack there as well. So now Clash Report says Trump has privately shown serious interest in deploying a small number of U.S. ground troops to Iran. The idea is not a large invasion, but a limited force for specific missions, such as securing nuclear materials or conducting special operations. No decision or orders have been made. Source was NBC News. Okay, we've been hearing about this also, that, excuse me, that the U.S. could possibly be deploying ground forces. There was reports yesterday the 82nd Airborne was going to be canceling some training missions, I believe, inside of the U.S. that could possibly be rerouted towards the Middle East. And I believe some of those soldiers are trained on ground operations, is what some people were reporting. So that could be a possible sign here of ground operations taking place inside of Iran. We continue to hear these stories coming out that Trump may issue some sort of ground attack onto Iran, or at least having some sort of special forces or something like that being deployed to maybe go after nuclear sites. It talks about securing nuclear materials here as well. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I think that could be a possibility. That was coming out from NBC News just as of yesterday afternoon. So now Megatron Ron, new IRGC spokesman, calls for Trump to start escorting the ships through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran wholeheartedly welcomes America's intention to have the U.S. Navy escort oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. Let's see what happens. Okay, so we heard about this yesterday, that right now the U.S. administration is trying to put together a plan to be able to protect many of the ships that are traversing through the Straits of Hormuz down near southern Iran. This is a major waterway where a lot of ships traverse through to transport liquefied natural gas, oil, other different commodities around the world. We even heard recently about fertilizer. Apparently fertilizer is a big one that comes out of there as well. That's for food supply around the world. Yeah, even though the U.S. Navy is planning to start escorting ships over there, we've got the Iranians warning that they're most likely going to attack the U.S. Navy when they try to start, providing escort for these ships. So what I'm still hearing today is basically, for the most part, the Strait of Hormuz is pretty much shut down. There are some ships going through there or taking their chances, but for the most part, a lot of them are still refusing to go through. So what we're hearing today is the Strait of Hormuz is not completely open yet, still partially closed at this time. Now, next, the U.S. is ramping up weapons production after a meeting with the heads of the largest defense companies. We agree to increase the output of top-class weapons fourfold, Trump said. All right, this is big news right here as well. We've been hearing that the U.S. administration was going to be reaching out to even Congress to increase, funding for more weapons as well, because they're utilizing so many different interceptors over here for drone interceptions and missile interceptions from the Iranians. They're utilizing a lot of bombs right now inside of Iran, obviously, so stockpiles could be starting to dwindle for the U.S. military. So apparently the U.S. is going to be ramping up their production of weapons, and it says here after a meeting with the heads of the largest defense companies. So we did hear that they would be meeting here soon with the U.S. administration. It looks like they will be upping that, is what Trump here recently stated. Now, World Source News, Pakistan is expected to deploy its Air Force and air defense systems to Saudi Arabia in response to an increase in Iranian drone attacks targeting the country. Okay, so we talked about Pakistan a little bit yesterday. One of our viewers here was actually asking me if Pakistan was going to be getting involved in some sort of way. There was some unconfirmed reports that Pakistan may have been deploying upwards of like 20 to 30,000 troops to the border with Iran, and could be involved in attacking them or maybe being prepared to defend themselves. Who really knows what's going on there? But apparently Pakistan is going to be deploying their Air Force to Saudi Arabia to help them out with these Iranian drone attacks that are targeting their nation. As we have been hearing that, for example, the Prince Sultan Air Base, which is a major air base that the U.S. uses down there, has been attacked recently. And we've also had oil refineries being struck over there as well. So looks like Pakistan is going to be doing whatever they can to help out the Saudis to defend their skies. So that's very interesting. All right, moving to War Translated now. It says, reporter says, looks like Russia is now helping Iran target and attack Americans. Trump says that's a minor issue compared to what we're doing here. What a stupid question to ask right now. We're talking about something else. Okay, so yesterday, our top story that we had was Russia allegedly was providing intelligence over to the Iranians. So targeting information is being given to Iran, supposedly, according to a report that came out. They're giving targeting information to the Iranians to strike American targets. Okay, so these Gulf nations where their ships are at, whatnot, that's how the Iranians are supposedly able to launch these attacks. And Trump's going to come out and tell this reporter here, I believe it's Peter Doocy, some of you guys might know him. He's a well-liked reporter in the White House, and Trump kind of responds aggressively to him, telling him it's a very stupid question, and avoiding this, not really wanting to talk about the fact that supposedly Russia is helping Iran target American troops. Take a look.
Thank you, President Trump. It sounds like the Russians are helping Iran target and attack Americans now.
That's an easy problem compared to what we're doing here. I mean, but can I be honest? It's just, I have a lot of respect for you. You've always been very nice to me. What a stupid question that is to be asking at this time. We're talking about something else. Can we keep this maybe a little bit? Go ahead, please.
Okay, so what an interesting statement coming out from Trump, just immediately not wanting to comment on this and just saying it's a stupid question, that this is a horrible time to bring this up. If you guys didn't hear Peter Doocy towards the beginning, I believe that was him asking Trump and kind of just saying, hey, there's reports that Russia is helping Iran target American forces. I mean, that's a pretty big deal to me if Russia is helping Iran to strike Americans. And we just had recently, 6 Americans, I believe, that were struck and killed in Kuwait by an Iranian drone, I believe. So if that is the Russians directly helping, you would think Trump would respond to that. But we've kind of seen Trump's posture towards Russia recently. It almost seems like he's very buddy-buddy with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Okay, we've been talking about this a lot with Ukraine over the past years as well. So I don't really see Trump commenting on this much at all. It seems like every time there's anything to do with Russian President Vladimir Putin, if it's something negative towards him, he always tries to avoid it and not really comment on it, at least based on what I've seen. Now for Megatron Ron breaking. Iran has struck another oil tanker. Iran has struck an oil tanker known as Prima with a drone. The tanker reportedly refused Iranian demands to cease operations in the Strait of Hormuz, thus marking at least 9 tankers struck by Iran since the closure of the strait due to the war. So reportedly, 9 tankers have been attacked, as been reported as of yesterday night. 9 tankers struck in the Strait of Hormuz, okay? So what's being reported of this is another oil tanker reportedly being attacked with a drone known as Prima. And I'm not sure if this ties into another story that I have heard today. I might have a report on that, I believe. If I had it saved for you guys, we'll go over more reports here in just a minute. That allegedly a tanker could have come under attack in one of Saudi Arabia's ports. located there in the Persian Gulf. So that's very interesting as well. We could have had a tanker being attacked there, like literally right off the coast of Saudi Arabia. So yeah, a lot of reports still coming out here from the Strait of Hormuz of tankers still being attacked at this time. So we're going to go over some more reports here. I'm going to go ahead and pull open some more details. In the meantime, let me know how your day is going, guys. Hope you're all doing well. I got several more things I'm going to pull open here, so just give me a couple minutes as we comb through this and get some more news. So a lot of this information was coming out last night, and now we're going to come out with some more information starting earlier this morning. Okay, so just give me just a minute. We'll go ahead and start setting this up for you guys. Okay, got another big list to go over. Lots and lots of updates here. I think we've got something from Ukraine. We can start with Ukraine. We do have one report from Ukraine today that I'd like to share with you guys. So just a minute here. Thank you for your patience, and I hope you guys are having a great weekend. Anybody doing anything fun for Saturday or Sunday? Let me know in the comments. Let's see. Just got to go through some of these here real quick. There's a lot of news coming out. I've pretty much another full list here that we can go over. Let me see. I don't know if I can fit all these at once. There's going to be quite a bit. Okay. Trump doesn't want to kick the hornet's nest with regard to Russia. Russia will be dealt with in due time. You think so? Yeah, it kind of seems like that. But just based on what I've seen with Trump, anytime there's something negative towards Vladimir Putin, he usually doesn't say a whole lot. He stays pretty quiet about it or tries to avoid it. But yeah, definitely, we're kind of seeing that everywhere, though. Russia's sort of doing the same thing. They're trying to stay out of the mess. China's trying to stay out of it. We're kind of seeing that all around. But yeah, there is one report coming out from Ukraine today, so we will start with that. But let me just give me like 2 minutes here. I'm going to go over some of these reports and make sure they're all good to go, that we're not doubling up on information, or some of these have videos that I got to check to make sure we can show you here on YouTube, because some of them I can, some I can't. So just give me 1 second here, guys. Okay. We've got more reports of lots of bombers on the move today, too. As I mentioned earlier, that most likely the U.S. going to be striking Iran with strategic bombers. We've got more reports of that today, so we'll be covering that here in just a moment. So quick intermission, guys, about 2 minutes, and then we should be ready to go. Yeah, in the meantime, thank you guys so much for your patience. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for being here. Just a moment here. Okay, just about ready. Feel free to chat too, guys. If you guys want to send me any comments, feel free to comment if you want to. All right, so yeah, I've got a lot of reports here of more strikes as well. You guys are going to see more damage inside of Iran with these attacks as well. Let's see, just about ready, guys. About 45 seconds here, and I'll be ready to go. Okay. Just about ready. Thanks again for your patience, guys. Almost. Okay. Okay, I think we're ready. I think I've got this ready for you guys. Okay, let's jump back to X. Thanks again for waiting, guys. Anton Gerashenko, ATACMS and Scalp missiles hit a Russia's Shahed drone storage preparation and launch site near the Donetsk airport today. Beautiful kabooms resulted. Glory. So the only update I was able to get out of Ukraine, still not much information breaking over here, but allegedly this was a strike carried out. So it says ATACMS and Scalp missiles. Okay, so ATACMS are ballistic missiles that are given to Ukraine by the U.S. Apparently Ukraine still got some of those. I think we only had one report over the past couple weeks where Ukraine utilized ATACMS to strike Russia. Apparently they had done that again here. This is going to be in the Donetsk region at their airport. This is going to be an occupied territory held by the Russians in southeastern Ukraine. And it says Scalp missiles also were used here to strike this. So we'll go ahead and take a look at this footage. Scalp is also going to be like the French version of the Storm Shadow missile that the UK supplies for Ukraine as well. So apparently a huge missile attack being reported onto the Donetsk airport today. This is new footage. Looks like we have a Ukrainian drone that was recording this at the time of the attack. Looks like a pretty good bombardment here from Ukrainian missiles striking the Donetsk regional airport over there. So probably trying to go after maybe even aircraft that are located at that Donetsk airport, or maybe drone sites or drone launch sites that are being used to attack Ukraine. That's something we typically see from the Ukrainian forces there. So fortunately, guys, the only thing that I was able to get out of Ukraine today, I'll jump back on over to X with some of my most recent reports, here in the last hour or two, and maybe we'll get more information. I'll try to pull that up. But as of right now, pretty much everything coming out is from Iran. So Monitor X now breaking. Iran has struck another vessel just 10 nautical miles off the coast of Saudi Arabia. So as I mentioned earlier, we had that other tanker that was reportedly attacked. Okay, so that was going to be the Prima tanker that came under attack, right? So here's a UK MTO warning, and this came out today, March 7th, 2026. And it says here, UK MTO has received a third-party report of an incident 10 nautical miles north of Jubail, Saudi Arabia, in TTW. The report is being investigated. Vessels are being advised to transit with caution and report any suspicious activity to UK MTO. So literally right off the coast of Saudi Arabia right here is where this strike took place. So that's pretty crazy. I mean, if the Iranians are willing to strike tankers located right next to Saudi Arabia, they don't really care where they strike these tankers at. That means that many of these are not safe no matter where they're at, even if they're literally right off the coast here of Saudi Arabia, or even maybe possibly at one of their ports. That was being reported today, so that's very big news there. Now, Mari Nafal, Iran's new policy in one sentence, says, "We won't bomb our neighbors. We'll just bomb the American station there." After Iran's president apologized for hitting every country within range, the IRGC immediately jumped in to clarify the real plan. U.S. and Israeli bases across the region will still face devastating strikes. Iran says, "Sorry, neighbors, are bad." Also, Iran anyway will keep launching missiles at U.S. bases sitting inside your borders. An apology followed by threat. Peak Islamic Republic diplomacy. So, yeah, apparently a statement coming out from the IRGC today, pretty much stating that, even though Masoud Pezeshkian came out and claimed that, they're not going to be attacking as much anymore, especially if the U.S. Is pulling out of their bases in some of these Gulf nations, kind of putting pressure on the Gulf nations to push the U.S. out of their air bases. Apparently, they're still going to attack, is kind of what we're hearing here from the IRGC. And I kind of reported this to you guys earlier, but just wanted to share some of these statements coming out from their side today. Now, from next, a massive drone and missile barrage hit Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, and UAE. So we talked about this earlier, that many of these nations are still coming under attack. So here's some of the recent updates. Dubai International Airport was struck, and we had that video for you guys. Flights were canceled for hours, apparently back open now, though. Iran claims direct hits on U.S. military bases in the region. Bahrain intercepted 86 rockets and 148 drones. That is wild, guys. Look at how many munitions were targeting them. Saudi Arabia shot down 16 drones, heading straight for giant Sheba oil field, 1 million barrels per day. Today, Iran's president apologized to the neighbors and promised, "We won't bomb you again if you don't bomb us." Well, looks like it's going to continue, because many of these nations are still letting the U.S. attack them. So expect that to continue as we move forward with this conflict. So now, Defense Geek Says a fairly unique bomber mission, Operation Epic Fury. Yesterday, a total of 4 B-1B Lancer bombers departed the USA heading towards Europe. One airframe, which used the call sign Pike 72, went to RAF Fairfort, while the other 3 aircraft, seemingly also using Pike 72 as one of their call signs, along with Pike 73 and 74, continued to Iran to hit targets. 3 bombers have arrived in RAF Fairfort a short while ago, having completed their bombing mission, and will likely fly all of their future missions from the UK. As I'm sure what tankers supported this operation this time, I've concluded all major tanker bases in the EU COM and CENTCOM area on this map. Okay, so a bomber mission is still being carried out. So there was some video coming out allegedly showing some of these B-1B Lancer bombers that were arriving back at some airfields located inside of the UK. As they carried out some nighttime attacks onto Iran last night. Okay, so we are still continuing to hear that many of these strategic bombers are being used to strike inside of Iran, and this was a new update here from an open source intelligence group called Defense Geek. Now from next to Israel is bombing Isfahan. This is where the center of Iran's nuclear program is located, including a major research complex. What wasn't finished in June, will it be finished now? So a couple new videos coming out here inside of Isfahan. They were getting hit pretty hard today as well. They've got a huge nuclear site over here that has been attacked in the past, I believe, by Israel and the U.S. And now we've got more strikes over here being taken or carried out, onto IRGC locations. I'm not sure if it was the actual nuclear site that was attacked, but we'll check out some of these new videos here. So just in this video here, we can see multiple strikes that were carried out onto some sort of position here used by the IRGC. One more video coming up. We'll check this one out too.
این چی جوری میزنه با چی میزنی داداش داشتی گوشی کجایی تو دور یه شماره بده به خدا اون شب انقدر پایین داشت یه بار دیگه زدی.
All right, so I don't know exactly what these women are saying, but it almost kind of sounds like they might be excited to see this with these airstrikes being carried out. And I did see this video being posted by some other sources that I have on X as well. And they were claiming that these could have been air defense positions that were being struck, that were being used by the IRGC. Does look like there's some vehicles out here. These could be mobile air defense systems that were deployed out in the open. Considering it's in an open field, that's maybe what that was there that was struck. But pretty wild footage coming out from there today. Now, Max 25, classified U.S. intelligence report says even a large U.S. military assault on Iran would likely not topple the Iranian regime, according to the Washington Post. The report also concludes that Iran's fragmented opposition is unlikely to take control, meaning U.S. plans to remove the regime and install a new leader would face major obstacles. Experts say Iran's ruling system is built to survive crises and resist outside pressure, and there is currently little sign of a mass uprising inside the country. Well, I would think most of the uprising is not going to happen right now due to these constant attacks. I mean, I don't think it would be very safe to be outside when there's bombs being dropped everywhere, right? So that's probably why we're not seeing a whole lot of protesting or uprising from the Iranian people just yet. I mean, we saw a lot of that just at the start of the run-up of these strikes. So here's a report from Washington Post. Intel report warns large-scale war unlikely to oust Iran's regime. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Hey, what's going on, Mark? How you doing, brother? Thanks for being here, man. Let me know your thoughts on this story. So, how do you feel about this? Do you think that the Iranian regime will be toppled at some point? Or do you think that, based on this report, they've got a lot of control measures in place to prevent that from happening? We're gonna have to wait and see, I guess. I mean, we see a lot of huge strikes being carried on onto Iran. Their military is being greatly depleted right now, but how long is that going to take? Are we going to see this going on for weeks, months? Who really knows? And even after all these strikes are carried out over here, are we still going to see a toppling of this regime? it's really hard to tell what's going to happen. But regardless, I think starting very soon, we're going to definitely see a next phase of this war. More strikes are going to be carried out and much heavier than we've seen in recent days. Now for Megatron Ron breaking, UK preparing HMS Prince of Wales for possible deployment to the Middle East. Sky News reports, crews alerted, mobilization time now cut to 5 days. No deployment decision has been made yet. Okay, so there is reports as well that the UK could possibly be deploying one of their aircraft carriers here, HMS Prince of Wales. Sky News was reporting this recently, just in the last 24 hours. So on top of that third aircraft carrier, the George Bush heading down to the Middle East, we could possibly be seeing the UK deploying an aircraft carrier also, and I'm not sure exactly where it would be headed. My guess would probably be off the coast of Israel, maybe near Cyprus, because we've been hearing that Cyprus has been coming under attack over there recently, and there's a huge air base that's used by the British that has been attacked here recently by drones. Some of them could have been fired from Iran, some of them maybe even from Hezbollah. Regardless, it ties back to Iran, and we do have British forces that need to be protected over there, so it could possibly be deployed to the Eastern Mediterranean. If not, I'm not sure yet. We'll have to wait for further confirmation, but this thing could be headed to the Middle East here soon. Now, current reports breaking, Iran has granted its military commanders broad authority to independently choose their targets. This was according to The Economist. Now, I kind of mentioned this earlier, so what could this possibly mean? Does this mean that their entire command and control structure is eliminated? I mean, we have kind of seen that, right? So the RGC, a lot of their top military commanders are basically wiped out and gone already. So is this kind of a command being given as like a last resort, saying, hey, we don't have any structure or command inside of our military right now. Just go ahead and fire on whatever you feel is necessary. Just start launching attacks wherever. So it seems like there is somewhat of a panic here within the IRGC, as a lot of their top leaders have already been taken out, which has been reported by the US and Israel here in recent days. So that's a pretty wild story right there as well. So the Iranians are probably going to be pretty sporadic with their attacks and kind of just attacking whatever they feel is necessary. So now Dr. Eli David, massive weapons depot destroyed in eastern Tehran today in early hours of the morning. So this came out earlier this morning. You can see here March 7, 2026, 5:45 a.m. So probably about 4 hours ago or so is when this was being reported. A huge weapons depot allegedly blown up inside of Iran today. Take a look at this.
چیه؟ الان کوهسارم زدن این ور.
All right, pretty crazy footage here as well. Look at that massive mushroom cloud, that goes up there after this alleged ammunition depot was struck here, located inside of Tehran in their capital. So as we can see, more strikes being carried out. I think I got multiples of these today, pictures and videos. Now, no reports. The U.S. State Department declared an emergency to bypass congressional approval for a $660 million bomb sale to Israel. The New York Times reported the package includes 12,450 kilogram bombs, 10,225 kilogram bombs, and 5,000 small diameter bombs. Secretary Rubio said an emergency requiring immediate sale exists. Yeah, this has been confirmed. Mainstream news media reporting this today. New York Times, that an emergency weapons sale has been approved for Israel. So $660 million bomb sale to Israel. Isn't that crazy? Look at these numbers here, guys. 12,000 bombs, 10,000 bombs, 5,000 bombs. I mean, that is wild. The amounts of munitions that we're going to be seeing dropping onto Iran. This is probably all part of this huge plan to start upping the strikes onto Iran. And I mean, imagine when this bombing campaign is done. I mean, what's really going to be left of the RGC? Right now, it's already being reported that a lot of it is depleted and destroyed. So imagine in another 3-4 weeks from now, a month or 2 months from now, I'm pretty sure they're going to be completely obliterated at that point. This is a lot of heavy weaponry flowing to the Middle East that will eventually be dropped inside of Iran. Some of these might even be used on Hezbollah inside of Beirut, but for the most part, I'm pretty sure that's going to be allocated for Iran. Now, Donald Tusk, this is going to be the Prime Minister of Poland. This is a statement that he made on X today. It says the war in the Middle East continues and chaos is spreading. Oil prices are going up. Washington may lift sanctions on Russian oil. Who is the real winner here? Yeah, he's got a good point here, right? Who's really winning at the end of the day here? In my opinion, I think it could be Russia because oil prices are rising. Let me check where we're at right now. I think yesterday we were at about $90 a barrel-ish. Right now we are at $91.27 a barrel. The number one person that's going to be benefiting from this is going to be Russia right now. Because what's happened recently, remember when oil prices were down to like $58, I think it got even a little bit lower than that at some point. This was really hurting the Russian economy big time. Now we're like pretty much almost double that. So this is really going to help Russia out big time inside of Ukraine. It's going to help them fund more weapons. And then when it's talking about lifting sanctions right here, we had a story yesterday that Washington is considering lifting sanctions on Russian oil that's sitting off the coast of India right now, as due to recent sanctions that came from the U.S. onto Russia back in, I believe it was November of last year. These were sanctions onto Rosneft and Lukoil, which are two major oil companies inside of Russia. This prevented them selling a lot of oil to countries like India. India had recently decided they were going to start purchasing oil elsewhere, although still pulling in some Russian oil as far as we knew. And a lot of this oil was starting to build up off the coast of India, just sitting on tankers over there as they pretty much did not have any way of offloading this oil, trying to find new buyers and whatnot. So apparently Washington could be lifting sanctions, and I believe they already decided to. I'm not sure if it's fully in effect yet, but they're thinking about doing that right now to ease the oil pressures around the world because gas prices are rising so quickly. I checked gas prices here in my area yesterday. I think we were up to $3.89 was the lowest gas price I could find here in my area. I'm inside of Nevada in the United States. You guys can let me know what you see with gas prices in your area, but I think they're going to continue to go up. I'm pretty sure probably in the next day or two, we'll be well over $4 here in my area. And I did see a video that came out just the other day also out of California. And I think some gas stations were selling gas for about $7.80 a gallon. That is absolutely wild. Many politicians in California are warning that gas prices could exceed $8 a gallon over there, and for sure one gas station was selling it at nearly $8. So yeah, guys, it could get pretty crazy here with gas prices. Now, Max 25, the only large tankers crossing the Strait of Hormuz are linked to Iran. According to Bloomberg, in the past 24 hours, one oil tanker left the Gulf and one LPG carrier entered. Both under U.S. sanctions for involvement in Iran's oil trade. Okay, so this is what Bloomberg is reporting, that the only large tankers crossing the Strait of Hormuz are linked to Iran right now, that we're not really seeing any other large tankers crossing through. And this ties into numerous reports that we've had that for the most part, it's not completely shut down, but the Strait of Hormuz is under heavy pressure, and a lot of tankers are choosing not to go through because they don't want to be attacked by Iran. So it says here one oil supertanker left the Gulf in the past 24 hours and one entered, one LPG tanker or carrier, So yeah, more reports here from Bloomberg. This was coming out today that the Strait of Hormuz is still under heavy pressure. Mark says $4 to $5 over there. Okay. That's crazy, man. Yeah, it's gas prices are going to be going up more. Hopefully we see kind of a leveling of the gas prices. It'll kind of just, sit at one price. Hopefully they don't continue to explode up. I think we've seen the worst for right now, but there have been some reports yesterday. I think the Qataris were saying that they were preparing for $150 a barrel of oil. Okay, so we're only at 91 right now. That could be a long way to go. And imagine gas prices if that happens to be the case. Okay, so let's move on to this next report now. World Source News. Breaking: Israeli-U.S. bombing of the Hamadan Police Command headquarters today in Iran. So another police headquarters. Wasn't it just yesterday we had reports that I think 30 to 40 different police headquarters or police stations were being bombed inside of Iran. This is also to help support the protesters when they come back out on the streets. The Basij forces is what they call them. This is a security force that the Iranians have deployed to the streets back towards a lot of these protests and riots that were breaking out just before the U.S. and Israel operation onto Iran. They were actually, Trump was saying that they were going to be sending help over there to help the protesters. This is kind of what that is, destroying these police headquarters and whatnot, because many of these stations are used by the Basij security forces that eventually go out onto the streets, try to quell these riots. And in many cases, we have had reports of people being shot and killed with live ammunition. And we've seen all kinds of crazy numbers, anywhere from 20,000 people, upwards of 30 or even more, thousands of people that have been killed. There's just so many numbers that I can't even put a number to it at this time, but we know that potentially tens of thousands of people have already been murdered on the streets over there by the Basij forces. So that is crazy that we continue to see these police and command headquarters here being destroyed. And speaking of that, the Basij forces, here's an update from Visioner. Tehran, Basij Punishment Forces Headquarters, U.S. Air Force beautified it. So this is apparently one of the headquarters for the Basij forces, okay, that was allegedly destroyed, possibly inside of Tehran is where I think this is at. And completely knocked out. And look at that, guys. Complete destruction to this headquarters here used by the Basij forces. Again, if you didn't hear me earlier, this is a security force that the government deployed to quell riots. And many of these people are accused of shooting innocent protesters on the streets. So you can see the U.S. continuing to put pressure here onto their security forces and their police command headquarters. Now, Mossad commentary. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps claims it struck a Marshall Islands flagged oil tanker in the Persian Gulf amid the ongoing war with Israel and the U.S. IRGC statement via Sepid News, an oil tanker with the trade name Luis P. with the flag of the Marshall Islands, one of the assets of the terrorist America, was hit by a drone in the middle of the Persian Gulf. Okay, this is a statement coming out from the IRGC. I have not been able to confirm this one. Also, this is on top of the Prima oil tanker that was reportedly attacked. There was another one off the coast of Saudi Arabia. That could have been a separate tanker. Now we've got this one known as Luis P. This was just coming out earlier this morning, about 4 hours ago, at the time that I'm here for you guys. We could have had another tanker here that came under attack. But this is a statement by the IRGC. This has not been confirmed by any other, reliable sources here. Sometimes the IRGC just makes up these stories, so it's really hard to tell. But I have not been able to confirm this from other sources just yet. So if I do get an update, I'll let you guys know about that one later. So now Dr. Eli David reports breaking Abbas Ali Mohammadian, chief of Tehran police, was eliminated. His forces killed thousands of protesters in Tehran during the January protests. I wonder if this was one of these strikes that we were just talking about on these police headquarters and Basij forces as well, their buildings that they use. Excuse me. So, yeah, apparently he has been eliminated. That's what's being reported here. So Dr. Eli David, usually a very reliable source, indicating this, that the chief of Tehran police being eliminated in a strike. So he would have been given the order to many of these police forces to fire on these civilians. So that is crazy. I feel like just every top chain of command on any department inside of Iran, whether it's their military, their government, their police, whatever, everybody's being wiped out over there. So they are taking on some massive losses right now. This is why they're having so much trouble with their chain of command right now. Now, Max 25 claimed as an attack by ATACMS missiles on the forces of Iran near the border of Kuwait. Okay, so here's another video, reportedly ATACMS missiles onto Iran that were striking near the border of Kuwait. So let's check this out real quick. All right, so I don't know what that is. That's some sort of gas facility or maybe some sort of power plant. I don't know exactly what this is, but this is actually another confirmation video here showing that U.S. forces are actively attacking Iran from these Gulf nations. Most likely, this system would have been set up somewhere in the Gulf nations to attack directly onto Iran, especially near the border of Kuwait. That is pretty wild footage there. Allegedly, that is ATACMS missiles striking there. And if you guys aren't familiar with this, Ukraine has this system as well. We talked about that earlier in the video today or during the live stream. These ATACMS have been used by Ukraine a lot to strike Russian positions. So now Mossad commentary. Overnight, another wave of strikes into Iran. Israeli Air Force jets launched 230 munitions targeting key regime military sites, including the RGC's Imam Hussein University, used as an operational hub, a missile unit storage site with launch infrastructure aimed at Israel, and an underground ballistic missile production and storage facility staffed by hundreds of regime personnel. There's a video there, but then also some photos coming out showing some of these sites that were hit. Obviously not in English here, but looks like these were mostly up in the northern side of Iran, close to Tehran, where some of these strikes were carried out. Looks like one here also in central Iran and the northern side there, and then also this final hit here. So kind of in the same areas, either northern or central Iran being attacked here. Lots of different facilities connected to the RGC, underground ballistic missile production and whatnot, storage facilities being hit hard overnight with more than 230 munitions being dropped by the IDF. Okay, now for Megatron Ron, new former CIA analyst Larry Johnson says the American public is being lied to about the war's progress. Iran has destroyed 5 advanced U.S. radars, 2 worth $1 billion each, and 3 THAAD batteries, about 30% of America's global supply. Roughly $4 billion in radar systems lost in a week. The naval facility in Bahrain is essentially destroyed. U.S. air defense are now largely blind. Warning time for incoming strikes has dropped from 30 minutes to about 1 minute. Iran now has support from Russia and China in ways it did not even last June. The United States keeps choosing military force over diplomacy. This conflict, Johnson warns, could escalate into a broader global war. So I'm going to give you guys this clip here if you want to go and check it out yourself. Let me post it here in the chat for you guys. I can't play it here on YouTube, but if you want to go and watch that yourself of this gentleman here, CIA analyst Larry Johnson, he's kind of talking in this interview about how the U.S. supposedly is taking on massive hits and losses here, billions in losses in radar systems. Now, we did show you guys a picture earlier of allegedly a THAAD radar that could have been destroyed. I mean, that's pretty expensive here. THAAD systems are not cheap. Those are ballistic missile interceptor launchers and a radar that would have been destroyed there. So I don't know. You guys can let me know what you think here. So far, U.S. Central Command doesn't come out a whole lot to give us updates on American losses and whatnot. We have heard, obviously, that some U.S. Troops have been killed in the fighting already. I think about 6 and like several being injured as well. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on what he has to say here. Do you think this is accurate or not? These are some of the numbers he's bringing out today on what could possibly be destroyed on the American side, that they're actually taking on some pretty heavy hits. But most of this information is probably so, pressured to not be put out there. It's suppressed a lot as well. So there's really no way to know whether this information is actually true. But imagine if it is, that's pretty heavy losses there. Now, insider paper breaking. Turkey mulls sending F-16s to northern Cyprus amid Middle East war, defense ministry sources, according to AFP. Okay, this is big news too. So Turkey's thinking about sending F-16s to Cyprus also to help defend their skies. So it seems like NATO's very concerned about this base over here in Cyprus. Now, obviously, NATO forces are stationed there. So this could be really bad. Imagine if a drone slammed into that airbase that has British troops inside of Cyprus in the eastern Mediterranean off the coast of Israel. Could that drag NATO into the conflict? Maybe it could. So it seems like they're very concerned about that right now. We've got a lot of naval assets that have been deployed near Cyprus from NATO countries. And now Turkey thinking about doing the same thing, sending F-16s over there to defend their skies as well. So yeah, very scary, guys. At any moment, could NATO get dragged into this with these attacks? Finally, the last update here, UK report, just in, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth from U.S. Central Command, excuse me, says it's never fair when a B-52 is involved. So there was a video coming out from the Pentagon today. They were releasing footage of B-52s being prepared for aerial flights over Iran to drop bombs over there. And is this like a signal sent over to Iran that massive bombing campaigns are about to ensue here very soon? I think very big possibility. I think that's what we're seeing next. I think a lot of these strategic bombers are being set up for huge attacks onto Iran, and they're just going to be running, strafing runs over there, just dropping bombs everywhere. And I think we're going to see a large bombing campaign like we haven't seen before, but who knows? It's really hard to tell what's going to happen over here, but based on the reports we are seeing, it really seems like we're going to see a huge uptick in attacks here very soon. So that's it for that set of news. I think I've got a little bit more that I can share with you guys, so let me go ahead and get this pulled up. And then after that, we will hop on over to some newly updated reports coming out on X, and I'll see if I can get some information from the last hour or so based on what's happening over here. So give me just 1 second. I'm going to set up a few more reports that I have saved for you guys, and then we will go into some very, very recent reports that are coming out now. Let's see. Yeah, so this shouldn't take me as long this time. Just give me about, probably 2 minutes or so. And I should be able to get this set up for you guys. Just got a little bit more information here to share. Get you guys caught up on what's happening over here in the Middle East. A few more posts there. But in the meantime, chat amongst yourselves. Feel free to introduce yourself too. If you're new here and you want to say hi, I don't bite. I'm friendly. If you guys want to say hi in the chat, let me see here. Just a moment. Okay. Yep, just about probably 30 seconds or so, and I should be ready to go, guys. So just give me 1 moment here. We've actually got some other big reports that I want to go over to let you guys know about what's happening in the Middle East. Okay. In the meantime, I hope you guys are having a great Saturday so far. Thanks again so much for tuning in. Thank you for your patience while I set this up. Just about ready here. We'll talk about more damage here on the U.S. side. Well, I guess relating more to the Gulf countries. I've got some images coming out showing damage to some of their bases that are used by the U.S. and the Gulf nations. So we'll discuss that here in just a moment. Also, just about ready here. Oh, also, I'm not sure if you guys heard about this, but there was a story coming out today. Also, I think mainstream news picking this up. There was some sort of bomb threat aboard an aircraft that was coming out earlier today. We'll talk about that here towards the end of this list. Any news on Ayatollah's son taking over? Yeah, last thing we heard about that is that's being put on hold. Apparently, the Assembly of Experts in Iran, they're wanting to hold a vote. Basically, the RGC is actually pressuring them to hold a vote right now. But many of them are actually like on protest. They don't want to get involved in a vote. And I wonder if that's due to just about 2 or 3 days ago, we had reports that a giant building that was used for the Assembly of Experts, while they were actually holding a vote, they were apparently counting the votes on who was going to be the new supreme leader. And most likely it would have been Ayatollah's son. It actually got hit by an Israeli airstrike and was completely destroyed, and it may have killed many of the people inside, but we weren't able to confirm that at the time, whether anybody actually died. But I mean, the building got leveled by an Israeli airstrike, and supposedly while they were holding a vote. So since then, all we've been hearing from their parliament members, whatever's left of their actual government, they're postponing it for right now. So that's all I really know at the moment. But as far as I know, nobody has been selected as leader or supreme leader in Iran yet. Hey, thanks a lot, Metals117. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for your nice comment there, and thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Thanks to everybody else too that might be lurking and watching the channel. Let's keep moving, guys. I still got a few more things to go over here. We've got about roughly 30 minutes or so before I'm going to end the stream. So let's go over some more of these reports. Mariana Fall, Israel issued evacuation orders in Lebanon. Then the strikes came. They're following their own warning into the region. Okay, so these are new strikes that were being reported inside of Lebanon. When did this come out? Earlier this morning, actually. We've got some more buildings over here being hit from the Israeli Air Force. I want to show you guys this new clip coming out. These were massive airstrikes. Take a look.
نزل هيا
الله أكبر
الله أكبر يا زهراء
الله أكبر
يا زهراء بعد فيها.
All right, so as we can see, people are actually filming this at the time, and what we see a lot out of Lebanon is, the IDF will usually issue an alert to the people in, like, for example, Beirut, and they'll say, these amount of streets from this block to that block, you need to start evacuating because we're going to be carrying out military operations, most likely airstrikes, and a lot of times people will set up cameras right over here next to the event and watch buildings get leveled. There was one video that I saw, I'm not sure if it was like a recent video, so I didn't want to play it, where there was people like just standing out on the streets waiting for this building to get leveled. Right when it got hit, there was just debris flying everywhere, and then everybody just started scattering because they were so close to the explosion. I was like, that's crazy that people are willing to stand so close. Like, I want to say maybe they were about 100 yards or maybe less from the building that got leveled. So pretty crazy that people are willing to record that so closely. Now from Flash Report, CNN citing an Iranian official. We are studying attacking new U.S. sites that have not previously been targeted. If they attack new targets, we will target new ones as well. And we will discuss a new target that the U.S. supposedly went after by the Iranians, is what they're saying. Apparently, they went after a salination plant that basically filters seawater to make it drinkable for the population in Iran. We'll discuss that story here in just a minute. But this almost makes me think that the Iranians are preparing new attacks, and maybe this will come after this major bombing campaign, or maybe around the same time. So maybe the U.S. is preparing new attacks onto sites that have not previously been hit, and it looks like the Iranians are preparing to do the same. That was from CNN, apparently. Now, Dr. Eli Davis is breaking. U.S. Navy warned the crew of the Iranian ship to disband twice before sinking it. Okay, so if you guys didn't hear about this story, this came out, was it just about a day or two ago? It wasn't that long ago that we recorded this, but we had reports of a U.S. submarine that had struck an Iranian frigate off the coast of Sri Lanka, okay, down in the Arabian Sea. It was apparently returning from India. It was doing some sort of naval exercises, I think, with India. It was returning back to Iran, and it came under attack by a U.S. submarine, and a torpedo hit it, struck it, completely destroying it, and there was like hundreds of people that were missing. Some people apparently fled from the boat, but here's a statement from Iran International. It says, message from the recipient, the father of one of the killed personnel on the Dena, which was the name of that destroyer that got hit, I believe, said that America issued a warning twice to abandon the ship, but the commander did not allow it. According to him, some personnel clashed with the commander, and those who exited on the lifeboat survived. Yeah, there was reports that the Sri Lankan Navy was actually carrying out a rescue operation to help some of the people that survived on board. Those were probably those men who decided to go against their commander's orders and jump ship because they knew it was going to get blown up. They probably didn't want to risk losing their lives, right? So there was a lot of people that went down with the ship. There could have been over 100 personnel on board, I think is what was being reported at the time. But yeah, apparently the U.S. did warn them to get off the ship immediately because it was going to be destroyed. So that is very crazy news there. And this kind of ties into another story. I think it was Abbas Araghchi, the foreign minister of Iran, that was actually calling this a war crime. They were saying it was a war crime for the U.S. to go after that ship, that this is mainly just like a training ship or training personnel that were aboard that ship. Not actual like combat troops or anything. I think that's what the Iranians were saying just the other day. So yeah, apparently the U.S. did warn them, get off the ship before we blow it up. So some people decided not to. And here's another report now. Mari Nafal, Iran's foreign minister Arakchi, is claiming the U.S. struck a freshwater desalination, kind of hard to say that, desalination plant on Keshem Island. Cutting water supply to 30 villages, attacking Iran's infrastructure is a dangerous move with grave consequences. The U.S. set this precedent, not Iran. Civilian water infrastructure, if confirmed, another line crossed in this war. Yeah, this was a statement from Abbas Arakchi right here on X. Okay, might be a little bit small for you guys, but he says here the U.S. committed a blatant and desperate crime by attacking a freshwater desalination plant on Keshem Island. Water supply in 30 villages has been impacted. Attacking Iran's infrastructure is a dangerous move with grave consequences. The U.S. set this precedent, not Iran. Okay, so I have not been able to confirm this coming out from anywhere else that the U.S. carried out this strike. This is only from the Iranian side, so who really knows if this actually happened? Why would the U.S. bomb a freshwater desalination plant? I can't see why they would do that, but this ties into that other story that I just mentioned, that Iran is preparing to target new types of sites connected to the U.S. or maybe some of the Gulf nations. Could we start seeing more critical civilian infrastructure being targeted by the Iranians? I think that is where this war is going to be leading to next, and that's where things are going to become very costly for the U.S. side and some of their Gulf partners. All right, now from Max 25, it says some ships in the Gulf are changing their transponder messages to claim they are Chinese to avoid attacks from Iran, according to Financial Times. Ships altered transponder messages to label like Chinese owner, all Chinese crew, or Chinese crew on board. So you can see how afraid these ships are to traverse through there. Hey, thanks for being here, user RS2JV1PE7T. That's a long name. Thanks for being here, man. Yeah, ships in the Gulf declare themselves Chinese to dodge the attack. So yeah, some of them apparently now trying to change their transponder messages, and they're saying, hey, don't attack us. We're Chinese crew. We're a Chinese ship. Please don't attack us. We know that China gets a lot of oil products out of the Persian Gulf, especially from Iran. I think it's something like 30% or more. A good majority of their oil comes out of Iran. So yeah, apparently some of these ships are now trying to, mask themselves or claim to be Chinese crew so that way they don't come under attack. But we'll see how far that goes. We've seen this in the past where ships have tried to do that. They still come under attack. So we'll wait and see for that. Now, here's an interesting story. Mara Nafal, the U.S. just activated a weapon system that existed only in Pentagon PowerPoints until now, the Sensor Shooter Network. Satellites spot a missile launcher and instantly beam coordinates to the nearest F-35, which fires without ever seeing the target. It's basically Call of Duty kill streaks, but real, global, and unstoppable. As Iran tries to move a launcher, U.S. satellites see it glowing like a matchstick from space, then boom, gone. An entire pillar of Iran's military power is evaporating in real time. Source was Cappy Army. Now, this is interesting. I've never heard of anything like this. If you guys have any information in the chat on whether this could possibly be real or not, I mean, that sounds pretty insane. A satellite pretty much targeting, some sort of object inside of Iran, and then an F-35 can just fire a missile, and that laser beam or whatever's being shot from that satellite will help guide that missile to the target without the F-35 even actually visually spotting it or anything like that. That is crazy. That could be the case, but we know there's so much AI technology out there. Who knows what the U.S. military really has? I mean, there was even reports of some sort of weird shockwave weapons or something like that. I can't remember the actual term that was being used, but some sort of weird sound weapons being used inside of Venezuela. I think that was kind of unconfirmed. I'm not sure if that was a legitimate report or not, but some people were apparently like bleeding from the nose or something upon that operation when the U.S. military went into Venezuela at the time, a few weeks back. I can't completely confirm that information. I'm just kind of tying that in and saying that, who knows, maybe there's lots of crazy, military technology that is really advanced that we're not aware of. So just wanted to share that story, as I thought that was very interesting news, just in case it turns out to be true. But you guys let me know in the comments what you think. Israel Radar now reports Israeli F-15s are flying to Iran 3 to 4 times a day to maximize pace of strikes. Pilots are using energy pills under medical supervision to stay sharp. Wow, that's pretty wild. That was apparently according to Channel 12 News. That's out of Israel as well. So Yeah, 3 to 4 times a day they're flying back and forth. Can you believe that? Being a pilot, flying for, let's say, 8, 10, 12 hours a day, constantly dropping bombs, coming back, loading up, flying back again. I mean, that's a lot of flying to have to do for some of these pilots, and they're having to utilize energy pills. It does say under medical supervision to make sure they are able to stay awake and sharp while they carry out these attacks. I mean, I'm sure a lot of these forces are going to be very tired. I mean, even some of these aircraft carriers that have been out here on deployment for a long time, now being sent to the Middle East, I'm sure a lot of these forces, they're going to be very exhausted while they continue these strikes inside of Iran. So I'm sure there's a lot of military forces here at the Israeli side and the U.S. side that are very unhappy of having to constantly be, going into battle and dropping these bombs and coming back. I'm sure they're very, very exhausted. So think about that, what these people are going through. Cappy Army has his own YouTube channel. I think he changed it to Justin Taylor. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I've never actually heard of that before. Is it Crappy Army or Cappy Army? Because it was stated as Cappy, but you said Crappy, Mark. Interesting. Yeah, never heard of that name before, but maybe I'll do some research on that. But that's very interesting information coming out there. Okay, so now Anton Gerashenko, White House official Gerard Agan says we're not going to have to worry about these issues in the Strait of Hormuz because we're going to get all the oil out of the hands of the terrorists. This is a long-term game because what we want to do is get such massive oil reserves in Iran out of the hands of the terrorists. What we're going to experience here in the short term is highly outweighed of the long-term benefit. So is this what this is all about? I'm sure a lot of this is the oil. Look at what happened inside of Venezuela. The U.S. basically taking over their oil reserves, and now is this the same plan inside of Iran? Is this really about the nuclear program? I don't know. Who really knows? Oh, it is Crappy? Okay. Oh, sorry, your message got taken out there. Sorry, Mark. Yeah, that's not me doing that. I think that's just YouTube because it's probably detecting that as unwanted messaging or words that are being used there. This is a statement that was coming out here on Fox Business yesterday. Some of these White House officials, or Gerard Agan was talking about this, saying that they're not going to have to worry about what's going on in the Strait of Hormuz. Maybe that's why they're not worried about the prices of oil skyrocketing right now. It maybe because they plan to take over the oil, and maybe gas prices are going to drop even more when this war comes to an end. I would assume the U.S. is going to try to do that. And, it's very interesting. Whenever we see these conflicts break out, they usually always have to do with some sort of commodity. We don't usually see the U.S. going into nations that don't have anything to offer, and Iran does have a lot of oil. So let me know your thoughts there on the takeover of Iran and oil when this war comes to an end. Now, Marin Afal, satellite images show clear damage at several U.S. military sites in the Middle East hit by Iranian strikes. U.S. Fifth Fleet headquarters in Bahrain, destroyed buildings and SATCOM terminals are wrecked. Al Dhafra Air Base in UAE, hits on radars, comms gear, facilities, including early warning systems. Muwafaq Salti Air Base in Jordan, THAAD missile defense radar blackened, and surrounded by debris. Bases in Kuwait like Ali Al Salem. Multiple buildings show projectile impacts and structural damage. Source was Planet Labs. So here's some new images coming out showing alleged strikes here that have been carried out by the Iranians onto U.S. bases that are used inside of some of these Gulf nations. So here's one. This is based in Manama, Bahrain. We can see multiple destruction here to some buildings. It looks like this area here also got leveled. Okay, Ali Al Salem base, Kuwait. We had some strikes here. Looks like several different facilities or installations were struck there. There's another one right there. Huge gaping hole, probably drone or missile attacks. Warning radar in Qatar that was apparently hit. I'm sure that's going to be very expensive. Prince Sultan Air Base, Saudi Arabia. This is March 5th. That was just 2 days ago. We had another strike being carried out there. So, yeah, as we continue to hear that, the U.S. is pounding Iran. We are still seeing a lot of destruction here to U.S. bases here in some of these Gulf nations that let the U.S. Utilize these bases. So we're still continuing to hear that. Lots of damage being reported here with some of these new satellite images coming out. No worries there, Mark. It's okay, but I got you. So Cappy, okay, so Cappy Army. N12 reports now Trump on the war with Iran. It had to be done. Look at what happened on October 7th. They must not have nuclear weapons. This was apparently another statement coming out from Trump. Channel 12 News out of Israel, one of their most reliable news sources over there. Trump apparently telling Channel 12 News that this had to be done, this operation on Iran, destroying their capabilities to build a nuclear weapon and everything. Trump stated so many times they cannot have a nuclear weapon. And he mentions October 7th, back when Israel was attacked by Hamas just at the start of the Gaza war, that, imagine if Iran had nuclear weapons. Imagine how dangerous they could be. Is kind of what he is saying here, considering that Israel was attacked by Hamas, whenever that invasion happened on the southern side of their country back on October 7th. So yeah, this is why Trump is saying this had to be done. That was a statement that he made at Channel 12 News. Now Max 25 Axios reports Iraqi Kurds are trying to stay neutral in the Iran war, resisting pressure from both Iran and Iranian Kurdish militants who want to launch attacks from Iraqi territory. Kurdish officials fear they cannot defend against Iranian drones. Kurdish leaders also fear being abandoned by the U.S. if the war ends. So it looks like the Kurdish people are really stuck between a rock and a hard place on whether to join the war or not. We have been hearing reports over the last few days that the U.S. is trying to pressure the Kurdish population inside of Iran and Iraq and Syria to basically get involved in the fighting and launch a ground operation. That was being confirmed just a couple days ago that they were not involved. One of their members of their government was actually stating that in Kurdistan, that they were not going to be involved in any of these attacks on Iran. But here's the report. It says, under threat, Iraqi Kurds resist pressure to join Iran war. So yeah, apparently they're also concerned that if they don't get involved and, own up to the U.S. request to start attacking Iran on the ground, that maybe the U.S. might withdraw support for them in the future. We know they are backed by the U.S., so that could be definitely hurting them in the long run if they decide not to get involved. As far as we know, they are not. Now, it was in technical, the Greek frigate Kimon is now patrolling off the coast of Cyprus to defend the island from an Iranian drone attack. Okay, so here's more information regarding Cyprus. Okay, lots of naval assets from NATO that are being deployed off the coast of Cyprus to help defend that British airbase over there. In this case, we got a Greek frigate known as Kimon. I don't know if it's Kimon or Kaiman, is now patrolling off the coast of Cyprus. Here's a photo that was coming out showing this thing patrolling over there to defend their skies if they come under attack by Iranian drones or missiles. So NATO obviously very concerned about Cyprus, that if they come under attack, could it draw NATO into the conflict? They're really trying to stay out of it. Now I want to show you guys this here too. There's going to be two videos. We'll watch this one here. This one doesn't really show a whole lot. It's just a man kind of recording himself while this situation was ongoing. Now, this is not directly related to Iran, but at the same time, could it be possibly related to security threats? We've been talking about here on this channel that there's a lot of reports coming out from the U.S., even inside of Europe. They're warning about possible terrorist attacks or anything like that. Could there be Iranian sleeper cells inside the U.S. that could be activated, or maybe inside of Europe? And could we see some bombing attacks or anything like that? Some sort of retaliation on the U.S. for this attack onto Iran? So look at this from next to us. A shocking video. Plane in the U.S. makes emergency landing over security threat on board. Atlanta, a Southwest Airlines flight from Nashville to Fort Lauderdale was forced to divert and land in Atlanta late Friday night due to a reported security threat, authorities said. After landing, police boarded the aircraft and removed one of the passengers. No injuries were reported. FBI is investigating. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys this clip right here. There's actually going to be some sort of security forces that come aboard this aircraft, and they actually detain somebody here towards the back of the plane. And apparently there was some sort of bomb threat. And I saw some other videos also that I'm not sure if they were tied to this same flight or maybe a different flight. There was another man who was claiming he was going to blow up the plane or something like that. So I want you guys to see this real quick. We're going to watch this video.
Stand up.
All right, so pretty scary. There is a man here that looks like he was detained towards the back of the plane after these security forces came aboard this flight. You can hear, might be a little bit hard to hear what the announcement, but they're saying heads down and hands up as these security forces came aboard to arrest a suspect that could be involved in a possible bomb threat. So that is very scary here. I'm actually going to see if I can find anything on this, and maybe we can go over a report that talks about this. Because this is pretty big news. I mean, it's something we have been discussing here recently, that there could be some sort of threats of attacks or anything like that. So let me see what we got here. Let me see if I can find mainstream news covering this, okay? Just one moment here. Yeah, so Daily Mail is reporting this. Interesting, there's actually not a whole lot of reports on it. Here's one. This is from local CBS News. Okay, let's take a look at this real quick. This one's asking me to disable my ad blocker, so we're not going to use that. Just one second here, guys. The Sun is reporting this too. Maybe we can use their report and see what it says here. Yeah, let's take a look at this really quick. This is from the Sun. Okay. And then after this, we're gonna jump back to X, and let me see if I can find some updated reports coming out from the war in Iran. But this is from the U.S. Sun right here. It says, flight fear, Southwest flight makes emergency landing over mid-air security threat as flyer is detained amid Iran and shutdown tensions. Okay, this came out today, March 7th, 2026. So this is coming out today, and it says right here, Southwest Airlines flight has been diverted and forced to do an emergency landing after a mid-air security threat. Flight 2094 from Nashville to Fort Lauderdale was forced to cut the journey short and land at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport at 9:06 p.m. on Friday night. Here's that image from the video there that we were just looking at. So this is a Southwest Airlines flight. It would have been one of these jets that apparently had to land, emergency landing, that is. Now it says here, while thousands of feet in the air, security threats was reported, which saw tactical cops storm the aircraft upon landing and detain a passenger. A video allegedly taken on board the flight showed the moment a man was dragged off the flight by the Atlanta Police Department. A clip shared on X showed terrified passengers with their hands raised above their heads as cops cuffed a passenger, took him off the aircraft. Text has been on the clip claimed that there had been a bomb threat, but this has not been commented on by the airline or police. It says here in a statement, Southwest said, the diversion came due to a possible security matter. We appreciate the professionalism of our flight crew and sincerely apologize to our customers for the significant delay. Spokesperson said, nothing is more important to Southwest than the safety of its customers and employees. Atlanta Police Department confirmed it has worked with federal partners to attend to last night's incident at the airport. So there's more information here. I'll cite this for you guys down in the chat here for you if you want to read some more of that. But that is that's pretty crazy news there. We're going to go over some other things here as well regarding Iran. So I'm going to keep watching what's going on there with that bomb threat. I think we might possibly be seeing more of that. There's a link in the chat for you guys if you want to check that out. We're probably going to hear more of this. There was just reports about, was it like a day or two after the U.S. operation onto Iran, that we had a shooting inside of Austin, Texas. If you guys remember that, there was like a bar that got shot up by somebody. Could have been affiliated to terrorism is what was being reported at the time. So we're going to pull up some more reports here. Let's go over some more information regarding Iran. I've got a few more minutes before we decide to get out of here. Okay, let me see here. I've got a report here we can talk about regarding Iran. So let's hop back to X. This is from Channel 12 News. This IDF spokesperson, we destroyed the strategic production site in Parshan. More than twice as many munitions were dropped in Iran than in Kevia. Okay, so strategic production site. I wonder if that is maybe ballistic missiles that are being produced over there. We do know that in Parshin, inside of Iran, there is a huge nuclear site there as well that has been attacked by the U.S. in the recent past. So yeah, apparently a strategic production site. I'm not sure exactly what it was, is being reported there just in the last hour, actually last 30 minutes, excuse me, that was destroyed. We've got reports of explosions inside of Dubai. As I mentioned to you guys earlier, that Iran was going to continue striking them. I'm seeing some reports about that right now. Let me see what else I got here. Okay, so some reports here about some of the Gulf nations wanting to purchase interceptor drones to defend their skies. I'm sure that's going to draw a lot of attention towards Ukraine right now. Oza Defender, according to the Financial Times, United Arab Emirates, or UAE, Qatar, and Kuwait have requested to buy thousands of drones from Ukraine's TAF Industries. According to reports, Qatar submitted a request for 2,000 drones, while the UAE submitted a request for 5,000 drones. Wow. Additionally, Kuwait also showed an interest in buying interceptor drones. This is how big of a problem these drones are, guys. I mean, these Iranian drones are what, about maybe $20,000 a piece. And then if the U.S. wants to fire, Patriots or excuse me, any kind of like interceptor missile is going to cost way more, right? It could be like millions of dollars to take down a $20,000 drone. This is the same exact issue that Russia has with all these drones attacking them as well. So we know that Ukraine is producing interceptor drones right now that are very cheaply produced to shoot down incoming Shahed drones that are fired from Russia. So this is kind of what they look like right here if you haven't seen them before. They're just small little drones that can also be used with AI apparently, and can be fired in mass like drone swarms to target certain drones that are incoming. So very cheap to produce, and they can mass produce them. And now Ukraine could possibly be placing some orders here, or delivery orders with some of these Gulf nations that want to buy them. So that's very big news there. Okay, wow, we got new reports actually now, since we were talking about Hezbollah earlier. We've got reports of lots of rockets being fired. Let me see if I'm going to be able to play this for you guys here. Yeah, we've got video footage coming out from Israel right now, where lots of rockets are being fired from Hezbollah into Haifa, which is one of their major port cities up on the northern side of their territory. I think I will be able to show this to you guys. So let me pull this up here. Thanks for your patience, guys, and appreciate you being here with me today. We've got a few more minutes before we close up the stream. So let me get this pulled up, and we'll show you guys this new clip coming out from Israel. So it says here from Mario Nafal, Hezbollah just fired 40-plus rockets into northern Israel with multiple impacts reported. 2 confirmed hits in Haifa, Israel's third largest city. Iran's missile wave and Hezbollah's rocket barrage hitting simultaneously tonight. So new footage coming out from Israel showing lots of rockets being fired from Hezbollah. And I believe this is going to be the first time that we've had this many rockets being reported as fired. There was like a few here and there that have been fired over the last few days. On top of that, drones. But now in this case, a pretty big rocket barrage onto northern Israel. Pretty wild footage here, also showing these rockets going right into Israel. I believe these are also going to be interceptors here that might be from the Iron Dome system. Looks like we did have some interceptions here from these rockets, but regardless, they're a pretty massive attack onto Israel. That was just taking place here just recently, just about 45 minutes ago. So this is tonight in Israel. It also looks like we have a drone attack recorded inside of Dubai. This one, I'm not sure if I can show the video footage here or not. Let me take a look at this. Yeah, we've got something here. Let me show you this here also. Okay, this is from Max 25. It says Dubai drone attack. So as we can see here, looks like another high-rise building took a direct hit there. This is going to be a tower inside of Dubai that is currently on fire. You can see smoke there as well. So another high-rise building coming under attack. I don't know if that's connected to, let's say, Israel. We know that an embassy was attacked over there. Then they have a large tower similar to this that was struck. This one, as far as I know, most likely just going to be some sort of civilian infrastructure, maybe a hotel or something. Let me see what else here. Yeah, unfortunately can't play the video of that, guys, but I will link this for you. Let me put this down here in the chat. If you guys want to check that out yourself, there's the link for that video there of this burning building here inside of Dubai. Again, just reported there in the last 30 minutes or so. Okay, so apparently some sort of security situation going on inside of Iraq tonight as well. We've got a statement here being released for the U.S. Embassy and Consulate in Iraq. Okay, so it says here, Disclosed TV, U.S. State Department releases security alert for Iraq. Americans choosing not to depart should be prepared to shelter in place at a secure location for extended periods. So not sure what's going on over there. We just had reports, I believe it was yesterday, the day before, of major power outages and possible ground insertion of U.S. forces that were being deployed near the border of Iran. Have not been able to completely confirm that, but there has been a lot of movement inside of Iraq recently, considering they're right on the border with Iran. Looks like something is going on over there tonight. So yeah, this is from the U.S. Embassy inside of Baghdad. They're warning people to shelter in place and stay in a secure location for extended periods. I wonder if they're going to come under attack here very soon is what I'm thinking, because we're seeing the Gulf nations being bombed right now as well. Okay, here's another update on how long this war is expected to last. Okay, we've been talking about this also. Close some of these updates here. And this one's from open source intel. Senior U.S. official told Barak Ravid, second phase of the war has begun and is expected to last 12 to 14 days. Okay, so this is a second phase. As we mentioned earlier, that was literally my thumbnail for this YouTube live, that the second phase, new phase, was going to be beginning here in this war against Iran. So looks like that is expected to last 12 to 14 days. And I think what we're going to see is massive attacks here onto Iran very, very soon. And maybe this is also why people are being told to shelter in place in Iraq, because things are going to be spiraling out of control in the Middle East. Huge attacks onto Iran, and I'm pretty sure Iran is going to be retaliating. Here's another one from Faytoo's Network. Tehran's Mehrabad Airport after Israeli airstrikes. So look at this. We talked about this earlier today towards the start of the live stream. Mehrabad International Airport in Tehran, one of their largest international airports there, came under a massive Israeli attack last night. A lot of aircraft were being struck. Look, you can see here, several of these were being destroyed. Here's some more aircraft here near the runway that were knocked out. We do know that one of these were apparently a Boeing 747 that could have allegedly been converted from a transport tanker over to a aerial refueler that's used by the IRGC. So it might have been that one right there on the runway that was struck. But look at that, guys. Massive destruction here to a lot of these planes located on the Mehrabad International Airport. Okay, so here's an update on Iraq. Since we were just getting U.S. Embassy over there warning about attacks. Look at this right here. This just coming out in the last 30 minutes also. OZA Defender reports of coordinated attacks on the U.S. consulate in Erbil, northern Iraq, at the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. Okay, so apparently the embassies are being attacked right now. That's why they're issuing those alerts. Those are actually, I guess, American personnel in those embassies that are going to be attacked here, or maybe are being attacked right now. Yep, another report. Explosions heard at U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. Yep, so we are getting attacks onto, this is happening right now in the last 30 minutes. U.S. Embassy and Consulate inside of Erbil, northern Iraq, is currently being under heavy fire right now by the Iranians. Yeah, so I thought that original report was just, for Americans inside of Iraq, not necessarily the embassy or the consulate, but it looks like at this time that is the initial reports. That is the consulate and embassy coming under attack inside of Iran in Erbil and also Baghdad. Okay, so as we talked about earlier too, here's another update I want to share with you guys on another story that we were discussing earlier. Regarding a report that Iran claimed that the U.S. bombed a desalination plant inside of Iran. Here's a report South Asia Index says just in, Iran may bomb the Jebel Ali desalination plant in Dubai after U.S. bombed water plant in Qeshm Island. Nearly 90% of Dubai's drinking water comes from the Jebel Ali plant, and any strike could trigger a major water crisis in Dubai. Wow, not good, guys. I mean, things are escalating over here big time. This is something that the Iranians they just made a statement here that I showed you guys earlier, that they were planning to attack targets that they previously were not considering. The U.S. is saying the same thing. So it looks like we are seeing more escalation here. Things are going to get out of control. We're going to see more civilian targets being struck, most likely in the next 24 to 48 hours. See what else I can find here for you guys. Seeing more video footage of rockets still flying towards Haifa. I think these are just other